Did you predict that? And this is the other match we're going to be talking about, Gunther versus Sami Zayn. Did you predict that Sami Zayn would win?
No, I did not.
Did you not?
I did not predict because I didn't see that much of a stretch of the imagination that, I mean, you can come up with ways to make that possible because I think in Sammy, see, this is another thing that I'm leaving out. You can bet on wrestling now. What is it, DraftKings?
DraftKings. Whoops, I've messed up my
You
camera.
can bet
Sky Bet I use, or have done, yeah.
on wrestling, which I kind of like. But if I had a bet on Gunther and Sammy, I would have bet that Gunther would have beat him and continued his run because I think he's the next really mega heel in WWE. It'll be Gunther. They may, repackage him a little bit, and I predicted before and a lot of people don't even remember this guy. And probably in the mid Atlantic, they will remember him if they're by age. Gunther is the second coming of Johnny Valentine. And I've said to Johnny Valentine, he didn't do spots. He does beat the living crap out of you. And him and Wahoo made wrestling believable. If you took somebody to see a match and they said, "Oh, wrestling's not real, bull crap," and you set them down at ringside to watch a Wahoo and a Johnny Valentine match, is to watch a bloodbath almost. They would chop each other so hard in the chest, not in the face, but in the chest. And I think that was, somebody thought, well, why don't they hit each other in the face with that chop? And I think the announcers used to cover it, well, it's gentleman's agreement. And people bought that. I've heard that before, maybe not on TV, but I've heard that before. They decided not to hit anybody in the face, go here, see who can take it the most. And they would leave those matches. And Valentine didn't go 10 minutes, 15 minutes. He'd go 45 minutes, 50 minutes, even on smaller shows like, see, Charlotte was a big show. Let's pick another town. Greenville was a big, say, Anderson, South Carolina, which was nowhere like Charlotte in the drawing, or nowhere like Greenville, but they would still go 45 minutes. They would give the fans who bought a ticket a show. Because I don't know who this is attributed to, but I used to hear in wrestling, if only 10 fans showed up, it's not their fault more people didn't show up, but they bought a ticket and they are due the best match that you can give them. And that's true. But Gunther, getting back to Gunther and Sammy.
Well, because you're getting back at Sammy, I'm actually going to bring up a couple of things from your notes here. Say fans love Sammy and the fight is in his heart. How does Sammy get the emotional elements, as you have written here, with every time he steps in the ring? What is it about Sammy that draws the fans in? Sort of like Cody. They're not mega charismatic, but they are.
Well, I was going to say the same thing, but in a different way. But it's chemistry is all I can say. Here's little Sami Zayn. You look at him, he looks like he's never even walked by a gym. He looks like a regular fan getting in there in some kind of army fatigues. And he's got red hair and a red beard, so he looks like he could be your next door neighbor, maybe. But you pull for him because he's the underdog. He's not as big as Gunther. He's not as strong as Gunther. But yet his fight and his heart, as I put down there, it transcends everything. And the kids love him because he's closer to their size. And they were just waiting to where they can Hang on one second. Stop a second.
1 second.
And the kids pull for him. We had to take a little break there. But he just has that. That's up to the booker to find. I mean, when he walks through the door, he looks like the farthest thing you would imagine of being a main eventer or even a really important match. But yet, the chemistry with Sami and the fans is because he's a good talker. He's likable. Even as a heel, he's likable. And when they turn him babyface, that's the only thing I can say. Because he doesn't do any more things different than other people. He's just Sami Zayn. And even if he has an agent, the agent can't go out there and tell him to do certain things. If I was an agent of Sami, you know what I'd tell him? Just be Sami. Just go out there and do what got you here. And he knows what that means, and he goes out and he does it. I also think that they let him go over. And what did Gunther have? Their intercontinental title?
He did for 2 years almost, I think.
They let him go over to reward him for all the great work he's done up to this point. And it also tells me they're going to take Gunther and do something else with him, or they're going to take Sami and do something else with him. But they're not going to leave this story completely. They will come back to it sometime in the future. Could come back in a year. Who knows? Because now WWE has gotten into that long build mode, and they know what they're doing. Another thing that makes this work, the long build mode, is people don't forget. I've been watching wrestling with people and they said, he wouldn't do that. He hates that guy. Because they do it on the spur of the moment. There's no build to it. And they remember that. And they might remember, I've been around some people, they remember matches these guys had 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Now, not all of them, but basically it's like seeing a movie and something does something and it doesn't look right. You go, I don't know now. It's actually damaged the movie a little bit. Not that you don't enjoy it totally, but wrestling is not doing that as much as it used to. But I'm glad to see Sami get acknowledged. I'm glad that they put the title on him but now when you go into the creative room and you look at what you got an entirely different slate that you're looking at. And now you got to take back. And I don't know if it's easier at this point or could be harder. I'm liking to think that it's a little bit easier because now they got all these different combinations they can go with and see what they want to do.
We don't really critique the wrestling matches like the moves themselves that much, but at the end, Sami breaks out his old finishing move, or one of his old finishing moves from the independent days that I'm sure Vince McMahon banned him from doing. I don't know if he ever did it in WWE, but certainly not done it in a while. The top rope brain buster onto the turnbuckle. Yep. Have you ever seen that before?
I may have seen it years ago, but just because a guy used it years ago doesn't mean I've seen it, because if Vince bans it, where else am I going to see it? I'm not a stickler for going back and studying these guys' moves years ago. But I don't know why Vince banned it anyway. It's not, but that's another clue that we are truly in a different regime. And if Triple H made this much improvement in this actually a shorter amount of time, then he knows exactly what he's doing. So my hat's off to him.
Which of the three were your favorite?
I mean,
matches?
me and you, we could have done it, of course.
Oh God, yeah.
I mean that goes without saying.
Yeah. Would you take it or would you give it?
Oh, would I take it? I'd take it.
Yeah.
Not now. I wouldn't take it. You could drag me into that ring with a damn pair of damn John Deere tractors. I wouldn't get in there. But taking a move like that says two things. The guy's good at it, and his opponent trust him. See, when you could get hurt in those turnbuckles, you could get hurt coming down. Gunther's not a little guy. He's probably 260. And that's a lot of weight. So that shows that he trusts his Sami. Sami knows how to do it. I'm glad Sami brought it out, because now the people who remembered him years ago in Ring of Honor, I guess that's where he used it. What was his name in Ring of Honor?
El Generico. He was a masked. It was sort of like a spoof luchador kind of thing that he did for years, and he mainly featured Kevin Steen Owens.
And it was good. But yeah, I think that says a lot for the regime, and it says a lot for Sami.